Oh, yes, done.
Okay, so last time we had discussed, so we'll start from here. Tadidam Shravanadi Bhavadi Shabda शब्द व्यपदिष्टं दृष्टं ज्ञानस्य श्रवणादया कारत्वं चित्तसुखस्य विष्णो कुन्तलादि प्रतीकत्वत् प्रत्ययत्वम् इति वक्ष्यामः षट् त्रिके अस्मिन् शास्त्रे प्रथमेन षट्केनेश्वरांशस्य जीवस्यांश ईश्वर भक्त्या उपयोगी स्वरूपदर्शनम् तच्चान्तरगत ज्ञान निष्काम कर्म साध्यं निरूप्यते मध्येन मध्येन परम प्राप्यस्याम् ईश्वरस्य प्रापणी प्रापणी भक्ति भक्ति भक्तिस् तन्महिमधि पूर्वी काभिधीयते अन्त्येन तु पूर्वादितानाम् ऐश्वर्यादीनां स्वरूपाणि परिशोध्यन्ते त्रयाणां षट्कानां कर्मभक्तिज्ञानपूर्वता व्यपदेशस्तु तत्तत् प्राधान्यैव प्राधान्यैव चरम भक्ते प्रतिपत्तेशः चोकित्स तु रत्न संपुटोर्ध्व लिखित तत् सूचक लिपि न्यायेन. Translation: we see that Jnana is the equivalent of Shravan, Bhava, and other elements of Bhakti. One should recognize that Jnana takes the form of hearing and other elements of Bhakti. Just as one lock of Vishnu's hair represents Vishnu, who is filled with knowledge and bliss. I will explain this in the commentary. The Gita is divided into three groups of 6 chapters. The first 6 chapters, the Jiva and Amsha of the Lord, is shown to have a Swarupa, to be employed in devotion to the Lord, the Amshi, the source of the Jiva. The 6 chapters show that realization of the nature of the Jiva is accomplished by Nishkam Karma Yoga, which contains within it Jnana. In the middle 6 chapter, this bhakti, the means of attaining the Lord, is the source of the jivas and supreme object of attainment, along with a revelation of the Lord's powers, is explained. In the last 6 chapters, the true nature of the Lord and the other items which were previously mentioned are described in detail. All three groups of chapters have indications of karma, jnana, bhakti, but by the predominance of the subject of these chapters, they have been described here. At the end of the Gita, there is a statement of bhakti in the form of complete surrender. This is like a short inscription written on the top of a jewel box indicating its content. So, my first doubt was here that I didn't understand this. Just as one lock of Vishnu's hair represents Vishnu, and the comparison of the jnana takes the form of hearing and other elements of the bhakti.
Earlier, it was mentioned that bhakti and jnana actually are the same, because bhakti is Vishesha jnana in the form of Kuru Pandava Nyaya.
Right.
Therefore, there is no difference between bhakti and jnana. Therefore, because bhakti is jnana, the nature of the jnana is actually to take the form of Shavana, Kirtana, etc.
Right.
And the example given is one lock of Vishnu's hair represents Vishnu, who's filled with knowledge and bliss. Therefore, the aspect is bhakti is actually being the Swarupa Shakti of the Lord, and it is jnana. Jnana is of two types. One is jnana, which is inherent. The Lord's very form is jnana, and the Lord also has jnana, being the Chaitana Padartha. So, the bhakti is the form of the jnana which the Lord enjoys, the Lord has. And every aspect of bhakti is fully representative of that jnana. Okay. So just because one aspect of bhakti is taken, it doesn't mean that it is an impartial manifestation or inadequate manifestation or aspect of the jnana, but it is a complete aspect of the jnana.
Okay. Sandeep ji, you want to say something?
Does it help?
Yes, yes. It's clear now.
I'm reading the paragraphs again.
Sorry? Can't hear
I'm
you.
reading the paragraphs again.
Okay, okay. Generally, it is said that the first 6 chapters are Karma Yoga, then in the middle it is Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 are Jnana Yoga. I guess Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that, if I'm not wrong. And he also makes the point that Bhakti is placed between Karma and Jnana, like we had discussed in the earlier discussion, to give the nourishment or to give the empowerment to Jnana and Karma. That because of without Bhakti it cannot be sustained. Something like that.
So even Baladev says here that in the last and the first 6 chapters show that the realization of the nature of Jiva is accomplished by
Yeah.
Nishkama Karma
He
contains.
just mentions here Nishkam Karma, which contains Jnana. And middle 6 Bhakti, and the next 6 he says that other items and are discussed.
His understanding of jnana is different, no? That's why.
Hmm. So if this is clear, we can go ahead. Anything?
Yeah, I guess we can.
Okay. You will read, Sandeep ji?
Sure. अस्य शास्त्रस्य श्रद्धालुः सद्धर्मनिष्ठो विजितेन्द्रियोधिकारी स च सनिष्ठ परिनिष्ठता निरपेक्ष भेदात् त्रिविधः तेषु स्वर्गादि परिनिष्ठितः निरपेक्ष भेदात् त्रिविधः तेषु स्वर्गादि लोकानपि what's this word?
Didrikshur
निष्ठया स्वधर्मान् हर्यर्चन् रूपान् आचरन् प्रथमः लोकसञ्जिघृक्षया तान् आचरन् हरिभक्ति निरतो द्वितीयः sorry संजिघृक्षया ओके तान् आचरन् हरिभक्ति निरतो द्वितीयः स च साश्रमः सत्य तपो जपादिभिर्विशुद्ध चित्तो हर्येक निरतस् तृतीयो निराश्रमः वाच्यवाचक भावः संबंधः वाच्य उक्त लक्षणः श्रीकृष्णः वाचकस्तद्गीता शास्त्रं तादृश सोत्र विषयः अशेष क्लेश निवृत्ति पूर्वकस्तत् साक्षात्कारस्तु प्रयोजनम् अनुबंध चतुष्टयम् अत्रेश्वरादिषु त्रिषु ब्रह्म शब्दश्च बद्धजीवेषु तद्देहेषु च क्षर शब्दः ईश्वर जीव देहे मनसि बुद्धौ हृदौ यत्ने चात्म शब्दः त्रिगुणायां वासनायां शीले स्वरूपे च प्रकृति शब्दः सत्ताभिप्राय स्वभाव पदार्थ जन्मसु क्रियास्व आत्मसु च भाव शब्दः कर्मादिषु त्रिषु चित्तवृत्ति निरोधे च योग शब्दः पठ्यते एतत् शास्त्रं खलु स्वयं भगवतः साक्षात् वचनं सर्वतः श्रेष्ठम् गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किम अन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य Mukha Padmad Vinisruta iti Padmad Dhritarashtradi Vakyam tu Tat Sangati Labhaya Dvaipayanena Virachitam Tacha Lavanakara निपात न्यायेन तन्मयम् इत्य उपोद्घातः.
तो यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाता है. हाँ.
One who has faith in this scripture, who is steady in following the path of dharma and has conquered the senses, is qualified for this scripture or adhikari. There are three types of qualified persons. The first, called Sanishtha, performs his prescribed duties of Varna as a form of worship of Hari, with desire to see Swarga Loka. The second type, called Parinishtita, follows his prescribed duties to set an example for others and at the same time engages in bhakti to the Lord. These two types also follow the rules of their particular ashrama. The third type, called Nirapeksha, whose heart has been purified by austerities, japa, truthfulness, and other actions, is absorbed only in worshipping Hari, performing only bhakti, not following varna duties. He does not follow the duties of any ashrama. There is a factual relationship between the words and the subject of the words, or sambandha. The subject of the words, Vachya, is Sri Krishna, who has been described in the work. The words Vachaka are the scripture called the Gita. Krishna is the subject Vishaya of the Gita's knowledge. The final goal or prayojan of studying Gita is direct vision of Krishna, which also extinguishes countless sufferings. These are the four anubandhas, necessary elements noted at the beginning of a literary work. The words Brahma and Akshara refer to the first three items, Ishvara, Jiva, and Prakriti. The words Kshara refers to the conditioned Jiva and his body. The word Atma refers to Ishvara, Jiva, and their bodies. The mind, intelligence, determination, and effort. Prakriti refers to the substance consisting of the three gunas, impressions, character, and one's swarupa. The word bhava means existence, intention, nature, object, birth, action, and soul. The word yoga refers to karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga, as well as cessation of mental functions. This scripture is the best, being the direct words of Swayam Bhagavan. Padma Puran says the Gita, which has emanated from the mouth of the Lord Himself, should be sung. What is the need of any other scripture? The words spoken by Dhritarashtra and others in the Gita were written by Vedvyas to create continuity in the work. However, those words also become equivalent to the Lord's words, just as all objects falling in a salt mine become salty. This concludes the introduction.
So actually, when it is said that the adhikari are of three types, one is Sanishta. So for Sanishta, it is said that he performs prescribed duties of Varna as a form of worship of Hari with the desire to see Swarga Loka. Right? So can such person be called as a devotee of the Lord or Bhakta?
Yes.
Yeah, he has got mixed desires. He can be called a devotee of the Lord, but he has got mixed desires.
Okay.
Therefore, his Shraddha is not fixed.
Okay.
Because ultimately, there's no categorization. It's not that in the society, Jaisa Varnashrama, you say you are a Swanishta, you are a Parinishta, you are a Nirapeksha, it's not like that. A person may be wearing the garb of a Grahastha, but yet he may be having the same kind of Shraddha of a Nirapeksha. For him, that garb is just an outer thing. He holds no significance of the garb or for the ashrama. But he's just there in the society. Similarly, a person may have the garb of a Nirapeksha, like today what is called as a Bhagavad Paramahamsa Vesha, but yet the person may be having other Shraddhas. Therefore, it is not an external segregation, but a segregation on the basis of the Shraddha of the individual.
Okay. Right.
So we can't group, suppose there are 4 grahasthas, we can't group all of them are parinishtitas or anything like that. One of them could be sanishta, one of them could be parinishtita, one of them can be a nirapeksha also, but he looks like a parinishtita.
So, and again, the second type of
So another is,
yeah, you can continue. Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, you can continue. I was asking another question.
Yeah, you ask that question also. I'll combine that answer also.
Okay. So my second question was that Parinishta devotee, it is said that he follows prescribed duties to set an example for others, right? So how can
That's correct.
how can a devotee like understand that now I'm on such a level that I can be an example for others? And mainly when we see that our acharyas have shown that extreme like humility, and they say that we are not qualified. Narottam Das Thakur in his Padavali, even Rup Goswami or anyone you take for instance. So how can we like understand this point that we are becoming an example for others, and maybe this can also be an hampering for bhakti. It can be dangerous bhakti at the same time. Don't you think so?
Can you please repeat in the sense,
In the
how can yeah.
Like for example, if I generally what happens that a devotee when he performs bhakti, he becomes extremely humble. Like he starts thinking that I'm not qualified for anything. Like even if he has gunas, he will think that I don't have any guna, right? He will say that only. So here it is said that Parinishta follows his prescribed duty to set an example for others. So like how can we understand this point that who is a Parinishta, and he will think that okay, I'm going to do this to set an example for others. So uh, like I think that can this not be like ahankar pushti or something like that? Because generally we see that people in the sense of teaching others or showing becoming an example for others, they forget the path of bhakti itself, and they try to become preachers or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Now this it is not about an instance of ahankara. It is basically what happens is a conflict in the statements in the Shraddha and the statements of the Lord. Like for example, when a Parinishta goes to an assembly or a group of even Vaishnavas, leave alone Smartas, even Vaishnavas, who are, say, for example, the Madhvas and Sri Vaishnavas, the Vadakalais, etc., or some other group of Vaishnavas. And they keep talking about the importance of performing karma as an anga of bhakti.
Right.
So, because they quote verses like Shruti Smriti Mame Vagnye, or about like Vedanta Desika says that Agnya Kainkaryam, or any other statements like that, or when they are in the midst in the society, what happens is when they come across those statements, while they have Shraddha in the statement of Bhagavan with respect to surrender, and therefore he has got no interest, when he comes across these things, he performs at least for the purpose of Loka Sangraha, because he also hears the statements of Loka Sangraha. So, and second is, it is his Shraddha in adherence to Vaidika Kriyas, Vaidika Karmas. So, ultimately what happens is, the person, every person is actually an Atma in a body. And there are Atma Dharmas and there are Sharirika Dharmas. Now, this Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, they are actually Sharirika Dharmas. Whereas Bhakti is Atma Dharma. Where we can find it? We can find in Srimad Bhagavatam, that 7th canto, I think 11th chapter, about Varnashrama Dharma. There, Yudhishthira and Narada Muni Samvad, there he is giving the Lakshana for every living entity. And then if you, and he is giving various lakshanas. At the end, he gives the Navada Bhakti also, the 9 Bhakti lakshanas, Shavan Kirtan also. After that, he says that now I'm going to give the Vishesha Lakshana. Now, Vishesha Lakshana pertains to the body. So, all the activities up to the activity of Bhakti is common for every Jivatma in a human body. It is actually a dharma for every Jivatma in a human body. And after that comes the dharma for the varna and ashrama. But if a person is completely fixed in Atma Dharma, where he is actually, having this concept of Ma Madhyam Samarpayami, and he doesn't have any attachment to his Varna, then he has no attachment in performing the karma, actually, even though he may be in Grahastha Ashrama, even though he may be in a society, etc. Why? Because his Shraddha is so advanced and so strong that even sometimes he may be even be treated like an outcast. People may start, disrespecting him. Yet he would not do that. He would follow. Now, if you look at the commentary by Chakravarti Pad to the shloka in Bhakti Rasamrita, the Swadopi Sadhya Samanaya Kalpate, there, if you look at what he is calling as Loka Sangraha, he says that even great Somayajis who are bhaktas, they perform the Somayaga only for the purpose of Loka Sangraha, even though they don't have a Shraddha. Now, a bhakta, can he perform a Somayaga? He can perform. In fact, there he comments to say that he will only get the respect. He is actually does not have Sangata, means it's not harmonious with the intent of the shloka. But then why he would not perform that is because people in the society who do not understand the glories of bhakti, when he starts performing this, they will start criticizing and undermining the glories of bhakti, which is actually detrimental for them. And therefore, for the purpose of avoiding the disturbance, he actually stops or he does not perform it. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam commentary, Chakravarti Pad says that Loka Sangraha means that if people are going to disturb you in the society and if you want to have a peaceful existence in this society, just for the sake of them, you perform with no Shraddha at all. Ashraddhya hutam dattam tapastatam kritam chayat. Therefore, you perform with the intention that I don't get even 1 paisa or 1 ounce of any benefit out of this activity. This is simply being done because in the society I'm living there and things have to be, peaceful in the society, because we do so many activities just to maintain peace and order in the society so that we can perform our seva without disturbance. So for that sake only he does it. Whether a Parinishthita, sorry.
No, please continue.
So can a Parinishtita, will he perform it so that he can inspire others to perform karma? Yes, a Parinishtita may do it when his Shraddha is not strong enough. So he gets statements or he gets, what to say?
His Shraddha is not strong enough.
Yeah. When his Shraddha is not strong, he will start thinking that I will perform these activities for others' benefit. Which one? Karma. But like, for example, let us say that we have group activities A and activities B. Now, activities A is those which are pertaining to Varna. And activities B are those activities which are Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, activities pertaining to Uttama Bhakti. Now, what happens is, the time which a person has got will be filled with either activities A or activities B. And then we can say an activity C, which is neither of these two, which is typically what we use for entertainment or whatever it is, the general activities which are neither Vaidika dharmas nor bhakti karyas. Now, when a person is doing this activity C, now that can be called as a Gauna Kala, which means, and that is the time where it says that, okay, when he is not performing activities of bhakti, instead of doing activity C, perform this in whatever little bit that you can do it. But the point is that if a person has got Shraddha, that he is Swarupataha Dasa of Bhagavan, whenever he is getting a time to perform activity C, he would rather do it in activities. He would rather perform sadhana, Swarupa Siddha Bhakti activities in that time. But if his Shraddha is not completely fixed in Bhakti and is little bit fixed in the body, he will start performing, that time he will start performing activities A. Like he will say that, okay, instead of spending my time in watching TV, let me do Sandhya Vandana. But actually, the thought would be, instead of spending time in watching TV, let me start reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me start doing some japa. Let me start doing some seva. Let me start doing, cleaning of the mandira, whatever. But the mind is actually not going towards the activities of bhakti and rather towards activities of the Varna, that is because his Shraddha is not strong enough. So it's a mixture of Laukika Shraddha and Shastriya Shraddha. But but as he performs the sadhana with the Shavana, etc., which means Shavana means that one has to do Shavana, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. So when he keeps contemplating and associating with Vaishnavas and understands the glories of performing activities of Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, and which that alone is a Swarupa, then his attachment to activities of Varna will keep reducing. So even when he is getting time, in section C, he will use that time not for activities A, but he will start doing only activities B. Sometimes for the purpose of being in the society, for just for maintaining order, or he may have a kid who will get ridiculed in the society, or he may have a son who will be going to the Gurukula and the people will say your father doesn't even do Sandhya Vandana, etc. So for those kind of things and all, he will just make a show that he will put all the external things so that society respects. And even now it happens, and even whatever it is, good or bad, it has been a thing that the conservatives will always stress the highest standard of conservatism. Even when they see that people are leaving their group, they will become stronger and stronger, ultra conservative. So that's the nature of the society. And actually it's a function of the mind. It is not function of the Atma. Because if the Atma has got the correct jnana, then he will start focusing on activities of bhakti only.
Right. So, and I guess I don't know if this translation is right, because here, if you see the Mool Sanskrit, it is saying Lok Sangrisha Sanjigrishaya Tan Acharan. So, he has translated it that his prescribed duty is to set an example or others. So it is right?
Yeah, many people understand Loka Sangraha in that manner. But my understanding of Loka Sangraha is that it is basically keeping people together, society together, to avoid fissures in society, and therefore to create friction in the society. Because ultimately, the essence is that when one has to perform Kainkarya, it cannot be performed alone. It has to be performed with everybody. To perform an activity in the temple, one person with the Shraddha alone cannot do. The entire community has to come together. But if one is going to create a fissure in the community by sticking steadfastly to something, then the community will not perform. And ultimately, it is not beneficial for them if they stick to karma and not do bhakti. Therefore, in order to also encourage them to perform bhakti, he may do it as an example that yes, this person, they look at him and say, okay, this person is our group only, and when he is talking of performing some kind of seva, we should also start doing it because they consider him as part of the group.
But I think here it is only said that for Loka Sangraha, means what Baladeva Vidyabhushan is saying for Lok Sangraha, he does acharan, like he follows the Varnashrama Adi Dharma just for Lok Sangraha. But I don't think he's saying that he does that to set an example for others, right? Because in the Mool Sanskrit.
Yeah, correct. So this example, this meaning of Loka Sangraha as setting example for others is taken even in Jiva Goswami. He writes in one place.
Acha.
Okay. What is Loka Sangraha? I'm not sure whether it is Jiva Goswami or Baladeva Vidyabhushan himself, but setting example for others, or so that others can follow. But it is not with the intention to to induce other people to perform karma. It is rather to induce other people to perform bhakti. But by performing karma, he is kind of creating an affinity amongst the people in following his other activities.
Okay. I guess they give the example. They give the example of Janakadi, na? Like for example,
Karmaneva samsiddhim astita janaka deha loka sangrameva api sampashan kartum arhasi.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ji.
Also, one more point.
There's also
yes, Sanj, you can ask.
There's also another problems, right? That the nirapeksha here it is mentioned that those whose heart has been purified by austerities, japa, truthfulness, and other actions is absorbed only in worshipping Hari. right, and not following varna duties. But we see that most of the times, right, one who is not a nirapeksha, who is perhaps as anishta or parinishta or whatever, right, they leave karma and focus only on bhakti, right? They neglect the varnashrama duties. Mm. Is that right? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
there is nothing wrong in that. For that reason only, Taptasa Dharmam Charanambujam Hare, that shloka is kept like that. That even if they give it up, there is nothing wrong in that. Because ultimately, fundamental point is, what is Shraddha? All this comes under only one concept. Even Tavat Karmani Kurvita, Na Nirvidyeta Yavata, Matkata Shavanadava Shraddha Yavan Jayate. Now, what is the concept of Shraddha? For us also, it is Adav Shraddha. And Shraddha, Sharanapatya or Aikyartha hai. So, Jiva Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami writes that Shraddha and Sharanapati has got the same meaning. But what is the concept of Shraddha, which is the mool for Gaudiya Vaishnava? So everything is about this term Shraddha. Now, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we say Shraddha Shabde Vishwa Krishna Sarkarma. So, in a person got to the Suddha Vishwasa, we can call it as a resolute conviction that when I perform these activities of Krishna Bhakti, then all other activities are fulfilled or performed. That there is no need for me to perform any other activity. Now he's not doing it as a pratinidhi, or he's not doing it as a substitute for karma. No, but he doesn't have to do any other activity because everything is fulfilled by performing it, because he is ultimately doing what is his swarupa. He is acting according to his swarupa, and there is nothing greater than that. Is the conviction, the resolute conviction he has. Now, this also Chakravarti Pad, if you see the work of verse, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Eke Kurunandana, Bahushaka Kyananta Buddha Visaminam. In that commentary, he writes about the same concept of Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. So, Shraddha is actually the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. That means that I don't have to do anything else at all. Now, when we talk of Swanishta, Swanishta not doing these activities and not doing Varna Ashrama duties, generally it will not happen. It is the other way. A person who's sticking to Varna Ashrama, that person is a Swanishta. Otherwise, person is Swanishta to begin with. So it is the activity which defines what is the nature of Shraddha. It is not the other way. Like in Bhakti Sindhu also, Sri Jiva Goswami uses a word. It says that by asking activity of a person, one can understand what is the nature of the person. I don't get the verse exactly. So, therefore, a Swanishta not doing this karma means that the person is not a Swanishta at all. That person actually would be a Parinishtita. And a Parinishtita not doing karma, that because of Bhakti Udreka, there is actually that, spurt of Bhakti which happens in him, that he doesn't have an interest doing that karma. There is absolute disinterest. Even the Loka Kalyana, Loka Sangraha is no more interesting or appealing. And if he doesn't do an activity, it means that he is using his mind in the activity. So if he is not doing some physical activity, it should be understood that he is doing a mental activity where the mind is fixed on Bhagavan. Now, if a person is actually not doing karma and doing entertainment activity, like for example, he is not doing his Vedic activities and then he is doing Sandhya, so he is going to movies, playing cricket, football, etc. Then instead of playing football, should he do the Vedic karmas, or instead of playing football, should he do sadhana, the Swarupa Siddhati activity? So
Hello? डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया क्या वो? हेलो हेलो क्या बोल रहे हो?
आप
हाँ बोलिए.
को आवाज नहीं आ रहा मेरा?
आपका आवाज अब लेट आ रहा है, मतलब डिलेड आ रहा है. कोई इंटरनेट प्रॉब्लम है शायद. लेफ्ट हो गया ना वो.
यस.
ज्वाइन करते. Here, यहाँ पे, like here it is written that the words Brahma and Akshara refers to the first three items, Ishwar, Jiva, and Prakriti. So, where can we find a reference for Prakriti being called as Brahma?
No,
Hello.
he is here now.
Okay.
Hi, Narasimhan.
Radhe Radhe.
You
I'm
got
back.
disconnected.
I'm in
Radhe,
Vrindavan.
Radhe.
For, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I'm in Vrindavan in Sri Haridas Nivas. Yeah.
Jai, Jai.
Ji. Yeah. So, so what I was mentioning is that when this person has got some time which is using for entertainment or any other activity, will he use the time to perform Vedic activities, or will he use his time to perform activities of bhakti? A person who has got a Shraddha will guide him to perform activities of bhakti. A person who has got a Laukik Shraddha in him will guide him to perform activities of Varnashrama. Therefore, ultimately, if a person has got the Sudrida Vishwas, that there is nothing more needed to perform, even the time which a person has got, even a time which is Gauna Kala or entertainment, that time also will be used only for bhakti activities. It will not be used for karma.
Okay.
But nevertheless, while this is so, and because bhakti is so rare amongst people, generally people's Shraddha is mixed with Laukik Shraddha. Laukik Shraddha means social Shraddha. Social Shraddha means people are pressurized, or they got some kind of a active or implied pressure to become a part, to act as a member of the society. And therefore, the person will think or feel that it is the right thing or it is the best thing to do to perform some Vedic Kriyas, and he will go and perform the Vedic Kriyas. But actually, the Swarupa doesn't require him to do that. So that is why it is said, Shraddha Yavanna Jayate. So as long as the Shraddha is not there, don't artificially do it. But if the Shraddha is there, then again, don't do it also. Because then there is no more. The Adhikari, he is no more an Adhikari for that activity. Because ultimately for every activity, for us in according to the Vedas, there is always an Adhikari Nirnaya. Like for example, when we are sitting to read this Grantha, the author is mentioning who is the Adhikari first. And only those people are meant to read this book. Others will not find any benefit out of it. And also maybe they may criticize and comment and lead to bad results for them. And therefore, a person who has developed Shraddha is no more an Adhikari for karma. So when he is not an Adhikari for karma, there is no point in his doing his karma at all.
Right.
But it is something which is internal. It is not from the society. Another person will not tell him that do this or don't do it. It is basically that that person will himself know whether he should do karma or whether he will do, because it's not that he thinks he knows. So in Gita, in 17th chapter, there is a shloka that Shraddha Mayo Ayam Purusha Yo Yat Shraddha Sa Eva Saha. Actually, we are all nothing but our Shraddha personified. Everything that comes out of us, because we have this karmendriyas, anything which comes out of the karmendriyas, every thought that comes is nothing but the manifestation of that Shraddha only. And therefore, others need not have to tell. He will himself do only those things. That's why the 17th chapter is not whether what one should do, it is how one acts. How a person, like even in that's why even in so many other places, Arjuna's question is Sri Krishna's answers are like that. Sita Prajnasya ka bhasha, Samadhistasya Keshava. There also, how does a Sita Prajna act? How does he speak? How does he think, etc.? Similarly, in 14th chapter, that how does a person who is beyond the gunas act? What does they do? Which means all these are manifestations of what is inside. So the inside is what is manifestation is outside.
And like one more doubt I had, like there are two questions. One question is sometimes if we do some activities just for the sake of doing it, Loka Sangra, which we say, or like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you were saying that he says that do it with Ashraddha. So maybe that activity may be related to some religious activity which may involve some devatas in them or so something. So doing such activities without Shraddha or just for the sake of doing it is it not a kind of a disrespect to the activity?
No, there is no disrespect because it is mentioned like that.
Okay.
It is given like that, and we have the guidance from the acharyas how to perform that activity. What is the impetus? So we need to go one step before and find out what is the impetus for that person to perform that activity. Why is that person performing this activity? How does it that that is why it is called as pravritti. So pravritti tasman uddeshaya Krishna uddeshaya Krishna rochamana pravritti. So uttama bhakti is tasman uddeshaya Krishna rochamana pravritti. Now pravritti is the tendency. So what is the tendency for the person? Where does it arise from? What is the mool? What is the starting point for that? Why is he think? Who does he want to satisfy with that activity? Does he want to satisfy Bhagavan Sri Krishna by that activity? Or does he want to satisfy the society? Does he want to satisfy a devata? Or does he want to satisfy his parents, which is again form part of the society only? So that is the starting point. Who does he want to start the thing? Like, kisko ruchi banana hai unko. So that is the starting point. If he feels that if it is, to bring pressure to Sri Krishna, then there is no need to perform that activity because Sri Krishna is very clear what gives him pleasure. Therefore, activities of Swarupa Siddha Bhakti are the ones which are actually giving direct pleasure to Sri Krishna. And that is the one which is giving pleasure to the Vaishnavas, sadhus, etc. Because sadhus don't take pleasure in karma, Vedic karmas. Therefore, that alone is giving the pleasure. So the starting point is that it is not meant to give pleasure to Sri Krishna. Then it is maybe meant to give a pleasure to a devata, or it is meant to give a pleasure to the society. And therefore, it can be understood that both of them are nothing but Laukik Shraddha, which may be in the garb of Shastriya Shraddha. Like, it may take a Vedic thing, and Vedas, because Traigunya Vishaya Veda, so Vedas are accommodating that also. That, okay, your Shraddha is in this, and therefore you can perform it, but it has got elements of this bhakti also embedded in it, that eventually he will realize that Sri Krishna is the ultimate bhoktar and Ajnatapasam, he is the ultimate enjoyer. So he ends it always with Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva, etc. So he may perform whatever activity, whichever devata, but he will end it with Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva. So, but the starting point is not pleasing Sri Krishna. The starting point is something else. He wants to please someone else other than Sri Krishna, and therefore he is doing that activity. And what he is doing is, the mind is a fantastic, element. It knows how to camouflage, how to package it in a manner that it is also kind of anukul to bhakti. And therefore, Chakravarti Pad is saying that if a person is going to perform karma as a Hari Archana, as actually an Aradhana for Sri Krishna, or only for the sake of Loka Sangraha, then it does not do avrita of Uttama Bhakti. Only when a person is doing it because of bhaya, fear, that if I don't do this karma, then I fall down from Brahmana position, or I go to hell, etc. Then if he performs, then Uttama Bhakti is getting avrita there. There is a hani to Uttama Bhakti. But if a person is doing it as part of Bhakti itself, because many granthas we say that before performing Bhagavad Aradhana in the morning, they say that one has to perform the Sandhya Vandanas. Therefore, what he does is he takes the Sandhya Vandana and this as together, and he feels that no, Sandhya Vandana is a must before performing this activity. But as he goes into now, this he reads in a grantha where he is an adhikari, a particular adhikari, and therefore the grantha mentions like that. But when he goes to other places, he will find that actually the person who is sadhu, he may be in the garb of a grahastha also, but he will not bother about this. He will completely keep performing only activities of bhakti. He may not even perform activities of karma. But if he were to tell it outside, the society will start disrespecting him because society is holding something else superior. And therefore, this person, he wants to give this Bhagavad Jnana, Bhagavad Bhakti to everyone, and the society will become inimical towards him, and therefore he will not be able to spread the glories of Bhagavan. So for that reason, just to be part of the society, he may perform some karmas, etc., just for others, so that people will think, yeah, this person is performing karma. So it's not that he is disrespecting karma.
Okay. And like one more thing I had heard, like some of the Smartas or Advaitis, they were saying that generally whoever lives this Swadharma and like being immature, and if they perform only bhakti, then they go to hell, or because of they are not mature enough in bhakti. So I don't think that this statement is right? Because one
Yeah,
form
that
of
is why the shloka, Swadharmam, that shloka is there.
uh,
So, when, see, ultimately, if you look at it, when a person hears this, that is why even in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, for Vaidhi Bhakti, there are three kinds of adhikaris. One is a person who has got a Komala Shraddha, then Kanishta, then Madhyama and Uttama. If you look at the Kanishta, he does not have Shastra Jnana and he does not have Shastra Shraddha, Shastriya Shraddha. Actually, Shraddha means Shastriya Shraddha. Because Shraddha doesn't come otherwise, it is coming from the Shastra only. In the sense that statement following the statements of Shastra is Shraddha. Now, the point is which statement of Shastra to perform? The statement of Shastras which pertain to a person's Atma Swarupa. What is the Swarupa of the Jivatma? When the Shastra is actually directly appealing to that Swarupa of the Jivatma and not to any other external coverings like Varna, Ashrama, etc. And those places, the Shastras are very clear what he should do. He should do only activities of bhakti. Now, when a person is actually doesn't have the Shraddha and he does not have Shastra Jnana, and now this person has got a Komal Shraddha. Whereas a Madhyama has got very firm Shraddha. He knows that the Shastra, what the Shastra is telling is correct, and it is kind of well embedded in his heart that this alone is worthy to be followed. But this person does not have enough Shastriya Jnana, that what happens is when he comes across some big scholars and panditas and they counter him, he will not be able to defend it. And therefore, in order to just not to be defeated or not to create an issue, he may perform these kind of things. Why? Because his Shraddha is Madhyama. Whereas in Uttama Bhakta, Uttama Adhikari has got a prouder Shraddha and he is also Shastra Nipunata. He can take on any of these statements and defeat them. And he can instill the Shraddha in his followers also or people around him. And therefore, he doesn't have to, or he's not bothered about, these kind of statements that I'll go to hell and all that. So when this Smarta is going to make a statement, a person who may be reading Bhagavata, again, this is again very important point is that how does a person approach Srimad Bhagavatam? Is the person approaching Srimad Bhagavatam as an extension of as a gradual evolution of all the granthas, that is all the other Puranas, the Ashtadasa Puranas and the Itihasa and the Vedas, or is he looking at Srimad Bhagavatam as a revolutionary text, something which is completely unique and not been said before? Like for example, every grantha has got something which is Apurvata. Apurvata is that which has not been said before. So what is the position of Srimad Bhagavatam? So that is why Sri Jiva Goswami takes a lot of pain in establishing Srimad Bhagavatam as a Swata Pramana. So every other Sampradaya is actually considering Srimad Bhagavatam as a Upabramana. Upabramana for them is something which is supplementary, and it explains, they may give a lot of importance, lot of glorification. Like for example, in the Mangalacharana Srimad Bhagavatam, they may say this alone is the Grantha, etc. But when they close Srimad Bhagavatam, they go to say Vishnu Purana, they go to Vedas, they will start glorifying that. And Srimad Bhagavatam will be forgotten. Whereas, and Srimad Bhagavatam statements will be aligned or interpreted in a manner to go with the statements of the other Shastras. Sri Jiva Goswami does the opposite. Establishing Srimad Bhagavatam as a Svata Pramana, he is interpreting the statements of the other Shastras to follow Srimad Bhagavatam. So, whereas every other school, every other Vaishnava Parampara, Smarta Parampara, Bhagavata Smartas, they will all interpret the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam to adhere or to be harmonized with the statements of Smriti and Smriti. So there is a big difference there. So these people, Smartas, are all of the other type, where they will interpret Srimad Bhagavatam according to, as per Shruti and Smriti. Whereas we do the other way. We interpret the statement of Shruti and Smriti as per the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Regarding those who do Loka Sangraha, in Bhakti Sandarbha 285 Anucheda, Jiva Goswami tells them that those who have Shraddha, that who do Loka Sangraha, they can do it by they can do the Nitya Naimitya Karma by worshipping Antaryami within the karma, and offering the Vishnu Padodaka, Vishnu Prasada to the Pitris and Devas.
Correct. Correct. In Harivati Vilas also he mentions that. In Harivati Vilas, Sri Sanatana Goswami mentions the same thing. That when one is performing the this thing, Pitru Karyas, etc., one can actually offer Sri Vishnu Padodaka and Sri Vishnu, the food which is offered to Bhagavan Sri Hari, then it is offered to the Pitrus. So all the Sri Vaishnavas, Madhvas and all, they follow that only. First, before the paddhati which they follow is that they will do first all the prayaschitta homas for the for the year, because a person to perform the Pitru Karma, he should be fully situated, like fully ready to perform that activity, and therefore there are so many homas and which he has to perform. All that because he has not been performing, and generally nobody does it. So there are a lot of prayaschitta homas which are performed in the beginning. And then after the prayaschitta homas, now the person is performing the homa for the Pitrus. And Pitru the Tarpana and the Shraddha for the Pitrus. So that time what happens is, parallelly, the Aradhana of the deity happens. And the Anna is offered to Bhagavan Vishnu. And after the Anna is offered to Bhagavan Vishnu, then that is offered to the Pitrus. So that is the paddhati which they follow. But again, while they follow all these things, like I have a priest who performs this, the priest himself understands and he tells me, look, all this is useless, but for the sake of the society, because it is all Vaidikas and all that, we have to do it. But ultimately, the entire essence of everything is that we keep glorifying Bhagavan Vishnu here and there. And that is all is the most important thing. And we feed the Vaishnavas and we invite them and we feed them. That is the most important thing. There is nothing else in this. And even my priest himself doesn't have Shraddha. But he does it. He's very knowledgeable. He's very knowledgeable, etc. But he's very evolved. And therefore, he tells very clearly that this is not our Swarupa. This is not what we are meant to do. But because we are in the society, to be part of the society, we do all these things. So what Sri Jiva Goswami is mentioning there, again, the point which I was mentioning is, what is the starting point? Like, for example, Yasyasti, this very Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Parihritya Kartum. Devarshi bhutaptranam cha pitranam na kinkaro nayam rinicha rajan sarvatmaya charanam gato nrityakan. Now, this particular statement, this can be interpreted in many different ways. Like, for example, Devashi Bhutaptaranam cha Pitranam na Kinkaro Nayam Rinicha Rajan. Actually, the person who has completely surrendered to Bhagavan Shri Hari and who is Mukunda, then this person will not have, it means he is very convinced that he has got no Rini to Deva, Rishi, Pitra, Apta, etc. Anybody. Therefore, he will not perform those activities at all. Whereas, see, Vedanta Desika, when he is quoting this verse, he quotes this verse in Rahasya Trayasara. There he's quoting the same verse, and he says that a person who has surrendered to Bhagavan Shri Hari or who has performed Prapatti, this person need not do anything to any other devatas, etc. He has to only perform to Shri Hari. Why? Because it is only to Shri Hari and he doesn't have any renew to anyone else. So two different meanings, but then the starting point is to be understood. Is it that importance given to the Sharirika Dharma or Atma Dharma? A person who is giving importance to the Atma Swarupa alone and nothing else means 100% Atma Swarupa, he will not even bother to perform the Pitra Karyas. And there's nothing wrong. He will not have an ounce of fear. Somebody will come and say he'll go to hell and all those things. He will not even bother about it. It doesn't even register in him. It is not arrogance. It is not obstinacy. Yeah.
But like this is right, but still they say that okay, you are surrendered to Hari and you're thinking about your Swarupa and you're working on the platform of Atma Swarupa, then why are you engaging in the things which are not related to Atma? Like, for example, basic thing they will say, like you're using Facebook, you're using WhatsApp, they'll say you go to the jungle or you stay aloof if you're so much on the platform of Atma. So they give such arguments. Like for if you think,
can you please repeat the signal? My signal was poor in between. I couldn't get your question from the beginning. Can you please repeat?
so I was saying that some people like give arguments, like if you're saying that you're thinking about your Swarup Atma and everything.
Rohit,
and
can you please repeat your question?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please. Yes, I can hear now.
So I was saying that some people give arguments like if you're on the platform of Atma level or Swarup Atma, everything, then why do you engage in some things which are not related to Atma? Like, for example, you're working, you're doing your job, you're on Facebook, you're on WhatsApp, you're making friends. So that time, this doesn't like how can you do all these activities and you're ready to give up the dharma, varnashram dharma, and all in the name of bhakti? So they give such arguments. So what can we say about that?
Yeah, which is
Like,
what I was mentioning about Group C. So
okay.
the whole point is that the time which a person has got, when a person gives this thing, that why are you wasting time? Why don't you do some activity which is useful? Now, what is that usefulness? How will he use that time? If he has got the Shraddha towards Bhagavan, we can understand this Laukik Shraddha and Shastriya Shraddha as a spectrum of 0% to 100%. So, if suppose the Laukik Shraddha is prevalent in him and Shastriya Shraddha is majorly there, he will start doing for Loka Sangraha. If Shastriya Shraddha is 100%, he will not bother about any of these karmas. If Shastriya Shraddha is 0%, he will perform 100% of karmas. If Shastriya Shraddha is 40% and 60% is Laukik Shraddha, he will perform more of karmas. He will perform bhakti, but the time he will give to karma will be more than the time he'll give it to bhakti. So
No, but
ultimately,
sometimes we see that people who have just engaged in bhakti, like recently they may have joined bhakti, and reading such statements from Srimad Bhagavatam and all regarding giving up the swadharma, etc. So I was like what I asked before, they may become like they are not at the stage of what we call as uttama bhakti, or they have the shastriya shraddha. Still, if they are giving up this swadharma or they are giving such varnashram duties, in the name of bhakti. So is that right? That is my question. When they don't have that shastriya shraddha.
Yeah, so that is why that sloka is Tekva Sadaram Sharanambujam Hare. That sloka is there for that reason only. Bhajan apakko api pate tato yadi. So
But yeah,
Bhagavatam is considering that. Yeah.
but if like they have apakva bhajan, but then we can say like what I'm asking is I've got this question many times from that Smartas and other of my friends. They say that okay, we understand that fine, if you're doing bhakti and you're everything you're doing it for Hari and you're giving up your swadharma, then why such a person who is apakva in bhajan is engaging same time in some activities which are not related to in bhakti? Maybe that may be materialistic activities. Okay, so they say that if he's doing that, then what is the problem in doing some karma, like Vedic karmas or duties which are prescribed by the Bhagwan himself? Deshe Shruti Smriti Mamay Vagya.
Yeah. So when such a person associates more with the smarta kind or the social people, slowly his bhakti udreka, or that that spurts of bhakti will reduce because of the association, and he will start doing karma.
Okay.
He will start doing karma and he will say that I'm doing karma for Loka Sangraha. But if he is going to associate with Shuddha Vaishnavas and sadhus, he will continue to not perform karma, but his Shraddha and Bhakti will increase, and the time that he will start giving to Bhakti will keep increasing. So again, it all depends on what kind of Sangha that person has.
Okay.
If a person Sangha is with the society, then his Shraddha will go towards the society. If the person Sangha is towards sadhus, means real sadhus, then his Shraddha will go towards Bhagavan. Therefore, ultimately, it is like, see, like this person who is actually giving this statement, the Smarta, that Smarta statement is nothing but an expression of his Laukik Shraddha. Now, that Laukik Shraddha will have an impact on the person. Now, what impact it has on the hearer depends on what is his own Shraddha. If his Shraddha is much lesser, he will be impacted by that. If his Shastriya Shraddha, Bhakti Shraddha is less, he will be impacted by that. But his Bhakti Shraddha is stronger, either he will counter that or he will just disregard it and keep walking. He will keep doing his activities in Bhakti.
Right.
One more point is that, like, according to that that verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, you give up karma when you have like attained vairagya towards everything, all karmas, or when you have the shraddha to Bhagavan's Bhagavan's katha, I mean, Sarupa Siddha Bhakti activities. So, like, the important part is how do you know that someone has shraddha? That Sri Jiva Goswami explains that the primary like lakshana of having shraddha is the person does sharanagati.
Okay.
And there are some other lakshanas also. Like if the sharanagati is like he does the sharanagati, not merely the ritual, but also like he has the lakshanas of sharanagati. The sharavidha sharanagati, every part like anukulyana sankalpa pratikulasya vajjanam goptritve those all like he'll have the like lakshanas of every those all of those lakshana. I mean 6 parts. If there is some missing in them, then his like shraddha is not like complete in that manner. Like there is some shraddha, some it's like more is necessary for them. Or even if it is not expressed, like shraddha is like some of the lakshanas are not expressed, then it should be known like from other. He explains it in Bhakti Sandarbha, I guess. Mm. So, like, if those lakshanas are not there, then like in my opinion, he should not give up karma. Like he has not, or he is like just cheating, something like that.
But even I had heard from someone, I don't remember, that regarding Shadvida Sharanagati, Anukulya Pratikulya Varjanam, Gopatrita Rakshititi Vishwaso and all. So in that person, I don't know who was that. He was saying that if any person even has one aspect of any of these six, then also he's called an Sharanagata.
He is called Sharanagata, but everyone can be Sharanagata to some extent. But does he have full Sharanagati? Like he might have some bija of Shraddha in some other place,
Mm-hmm.
like
But
that.
like Narasimhanji was mentioning, maybe by association that may increase gradually.
Yeah, that is there. Like there are some other type of sadhakas who like give up karma having like drida vishwasa in the statement that
Mm-hmm.
the at attainment of Shraddha, the karma adhikara is no longer there in the in the bhakta. So
Mm-hmm.
believing in that statement, they give up. Others are there that though like they don't give up, but like do it for Loka Sangra, or like because it is a habit, or like the society, like you have to live in the society, so you have to do it
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise society will not no longer like it will be very difficult for you. That's
Mm-hmm.
why.
Right.
Like for example, somebody from Dakshin, South Indian Vaishnava Sampradaya will say Gaudiya Vaishnavas are not Vaidikas. Why? Because they don't do Vaidika karma. Now, uh, when one is living in a proper sadhu society, sangha, he will not bother about these statements because this is coming from somebody who's having a Laukic Shraddha. But if suppose one is surrounded by people like this and he has to live in between, then just for the purpose of going along with them, he will start doing Vedic karmas. And if a person doesn't have the real Shraddha itself, he will start thinking that maybe Gaudiyas are not Vedikas. So ultimately, the dridata of the Shraddha is the one which determines how he is going to spend his time. One thing which we have to understand very importantly, all this is not a human manufactured thing. It is not a mental manufactured. The Shraddha of Bhakti is not a mental manufacture. It is the Swarupa Shakti Vritti. Therefore, it is not, the Jivatma keeps thinking that he is independent, he can choose this way, that way. But ultimately, the nature of the Shraddha is either it's the grace of Bhagavan manifesting in him, or the grace of Bhagavan not manifesting in him, which means that the Trigunatmik Shraddha is prevalent. Therefore, whatever is the nature of Shraddha, everything which comes out will be like that. That Srimad Bhagavad, that Brahma Samhita last shloka is also in Yadrishi Shraddha Siddhir Bhavati Tadrishi. So whatever is the nature of Shraddha, the Siddhi will be according to that Shraddha only.
Okay. So like the question can arise that what is the reason that some of them have, if it is in grace of Bhagwan, then why Bhagwan is giving such grace to some people who have Drid Shastriya Shraddha and some who have less Shastriya Shraddha, or Shraddha also in that instance?
Yeah. So the grace of Bhagavan is given as a bija. Like for example, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lada Bija. Now, after the bija is given, he is also given the instructions. Like for example, when one is given a sapling or a seed, one is also told how to maintain that. Every different kind of a plant has got a different way of maintenance. One is told how to maintain that. Or a child is there, or you can say a horse, a dog, or whatever. Anything which has to be nourished and maintained and grown has got a method of how to do it. Now, in this, what happens is with the concept of bhakti, it is told what should be done. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is very clear. Sriman Mahaprabhu's, that narration of what happens and what a person should do. Nowhere it is mentioned that the person has to do karma. That the person has to do the only things which has to do are activities of Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, Shravanam Kirtanadi. That is all is mentioned. Exactly. So anything and everything the person has to do is only those activities. Now, if a person is actually sincere in performing those activities, then the Shraddha, which is given in the Bija form, grows. And along with that is Shastra Shavana. Means when he said Shavana, it is not just the glorification and the Leela Shavana. It is proper Shastriya Shavana. Like, Sri Jiva Goswami takes so much of pain to write the Sandarbhas. It is for that reason, that it is meant for whom? It is Sri Krishna Bhakti Eka Abhilashavan. It is meant for Krishna Bhakta only. And he goes into great depth into, analyzing Shastras. various siddhantas, etc. So it is important for that reason. So when a person hears that, and then what happens is his shraddha, which means basically that seed starts growing. Now, if suppose if he is not doing those activities adequately, then the growth is stunted and the growth is not adequate. Therefore, the reason, the nature, that is why it is actually when there is a discussion which is happening about bhava in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where it is said that bhava bhakti has got two things: sudurda and moksha lagatakrit and sudurlabha. And then after that, whereas the sadhana bhakti has got these two, which is kleshagni and shubhada. Now there Chakravarti Pad is saying that so many steps are given there. Adav Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangha, Tato Bhajana Kriya, Tato Anartha Nivritti, Nishta Ruchi, Asakti. How does it happen? Like, does it happen sequentially? Does it happen quickly? So Chakravarti Pad says that it is happening like a Shatapatra Shatabheda Jaya. So you have 100 leaves and one needle is piercing the 100 leaves. It appears as if there is a time gap between each leaf. But actually, it should be noted that all the 100 leaves are pierced in one pierce only. There is a very smooth flow and it all pierces. Therefore, even in this shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, Satam prasangan mama virya sambido bhavanti hirkarana rasayanaha kataha tad joshanat asu apavarga vartmani shraddha ratir bhakti anukrama. So there is a krama. But how does it happen? Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hirkarana rasayanaha kataha. So the person's how focused he is in performing activities of Swarupa Siddha Bhakti determines how firmly and how quickly he develops the Shastriya Shraddha. If a person is lax in the performing because that is actually nothing but the vachanas or the instructions from the Guru and the Shastras. When he is doing a langan of that, the person is actually, when he is not focusing on, he is doing a langan of the Shastra and Guru Vakyas. Now, when that happens, like we pray, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chite De Koriya Akya Arna Koriho Mani Asha. But is it the case? Does it translate into action? When it doesn't translate into action, then what happens is Guru Ravajna happens. Guru Ravajna is nothing but an aparadha. And because of the aparadha, the Shraddha doesn't grow that fast. The only thing which can delay the developments of Sudruda Vishwas or even Bhava, etc., is aparadha. There's nothing else which is stopping the Jivatma. It is only aparadha, and therefore there's so much of focus paid on avoiding aparadhas. So, in fact, Guru Ravajna, Shriti Shastra Nindanam, these two are there. So, when a person doesn't take the Shastric statements seriously and the Guru's Vakya seriously, then what happens is there is an aparadha there, then his growth is stunted. Means basically the plant is not growing. He may be doing Shamanam, Kirtan, etc. But if he is not doing with the same vigor, because that is what he is actually committing. When a person is becoming, like for us, for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Diksha and Sharanagati are non-different. Diksha is the same as Sharanagati. But what happens is, like in Sharanagati, we have the 6 elements. So when somebody takes Diksha, but he is not having all the seriousness of what should be a Sishya, how should be a disciple should be, then the development of the Shastriya Shraddha is stunted.
Right. So here there is another thing. The words Brahma and Akshar refers to the first 3 items, Ishwar, Jeev and Prakriti. So I was asking that, is there any statement in Shastra which says that Prakriti as Brahma? Or why is it Prakriti called as Brahma? Because of its being Shakti of Brahma.
In Gita, it's Sri Krishna says, no, Mama, my womb is Brahman, which means Prakriti.
My womb.
Mm.
Okay.
14th chapter.
But for me, Mahat Brahma, something like that. Their Brahma means Prakriti.
Mama
Because
Yoni Bahat Brahma, Tasmin Karmam Dadamyam.
Right. So we have finished the introduction here. So should we also take Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's introduction also, or should we start like whenever we take the next session discussion? So should we start from first chapter itself?
Has anyone read Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad's introduction to Gita? Is there any other points that he makes other than these? Then we can discuss only them.
He makes different points, I guess. I mean,
There are some different points which he makes.
Chakravarti Pad clarifies something important. Yeah. Chakravarti Pad, he says that about bhakti, that is Shuddha Bhakti, then Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti and Gauni Bhakti. Gauni Bhuta Bhakti. So, where Bhakti is secondary, Bhakti is major, and Bhakti is exclusive. Three different categories.
So we can discuss that. Then we'll go ahead with second chapter directly. First chapter, because there is nothing such like important over there. We can just have an summary of that.
yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti's introduction is short, I guess.
Yeah, it is short, so we can take that. And then we can start from second chapter itself.
My first chapter.
First chapter will do a summary, like what is discussed there. Like no need to go verse by verse. Second chapter onwards, we can go verse by verse, because there actually we can have more discussion over there. This what
So
people.
how will you do it? Like, which commentary will you follow? Baladeva or
Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti, both commentary will follow.
won't it be like confusing? Go together.
No, I don't think so. It would be confusing.
Okay.
Actually, both of them have a very different flow. It is very important. We can read together. I have read together, but we can read together, but we have to keep going back and forth to see how the sequence follows. Because it's very important to keep doing that. We can do either, or we can do one commentary completely and then go to another commentary completely.
Okay. So then should we go ahead with Baladeva Vidyabhushan only?
We can do that. We can do that.
Okay. So we'll only take Baladeva Vidyabhushan's commentary. Then start with second chapter only.
No, you can start first chapter. It has got a lot of important points.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, in fact, what he's saying that in the beginning itself, he's saying that Srimad the Padma Purana verse, it is said that Gita su Gita kartavya kim hi shastra vistaraha ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmad ministrita. So for that he is justifying that it has come from Padmanabha's Mukha Padma. But then if it has come from Padmanabha's Mukha Padma, then there are statements like Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Sanjay Uvacha. Who is the person who is speaking that? So he is saying that all that should be understood by Lavanakara Nipata Jnaya. So Lavanakara Nipata Jnaya means if you have a metal bolt and it falls, or a piece of rock which falls into a salt pit or salt mine, when one takes out and licks it, it will be like salt only, it will be completely salty. So he says that Tanmayam iti upodgataha. So all that, even those verses of Dhritarashtra and Sanjay, etc., should be understood to be like, they become Tanmaya with this Bhagavad Gita, and they are also spoken by Bhagavan only. It should be understood that as if they are spoken by Bhagavan only, and therefore they hold a lot of as much significance as spoken by Bhagavan.
Right.
Therefore, we can look at that. Like for example, the first shloka itself is a very interesting shloka.
Yeah, Dharma Kshetra. Yeah, because I was thinking that because 18 chapters we have to discuss, so that's why I was suggesting that we could start by second chapter. But fine, if we all are like agreeing, then we can go by first chapter itself. No problem.
Yeah. See, if you get the depth, there is no substitution. Yeah.
So what you were saying?
No, there is no substitution for the depth. See, the whole purpose of this grantha is to internalize and live according to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we are not doing one way, yes, we are not doing like a university study where we have to complete something by, that's okay for an external purpose. But if one is really interested to know what the Acharya has said, it's good to go in depth, and speed will come. Eventually, the speed will come, because after that it becomes easier to understand his thought process, Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushan thought process. Then after that, the speed will automatically come.
Right. So should we continue or stop here?
Let's stop for now for today. We can continue next time.
Okay.
Is anyone staying in Vrindavan?
No, I stay in Mumbai.